Right, so I'm going to try and keep within the time limit. I guess one of the things we've been doing at our school is really about, I don't believe that learning is going to happen the same way. I don't believe that learning should happen the same way that it happens now, and I think that I like to challenge teachers in our school to actually think a little bit outside the square and think about how learning does happen best. And some of the things we've been doing at SANS is really, we will actually learning happen in 5 years and 10 years. Will it actually be at a school? Will we still require universities? Will we still require WinTech? Will they take the same format? Will the spaces we have be similar to what they are now, or do they need to change? You know, at the moment, most of us have a room of some description that has one teacher, many students, paper, ICT, e-learning, all blended. I mean, that's becoming more and more common practice, but it's still one of someone and many of something else. And I actually wonder, and this is what we've been looking at quite a bit with our e-learning, is that it's really about, there are many teachers. In this room here, we're all learners, we're all teachers at varying times, we all learn things from each other and teach each other things as well. And I think that e-learning actually connects us, and it's a way of connecting us. And at our school, we're looking at, if this is our core sort of philosophy, and we're thinking that maybe it doesn't just happen in a classroom, that maybe it can happen seamlessly anywhere, how can we get that to actually happen? Can't do much about the buildings we have, but we can do quite a lot about what we do inside those walls, really. So we've got some really clear focuses on learning for all, staff and students. So one of the things is that, you know, Glenn down the back there, who actually does a lot of the hard work, has developed some really great rubrics around effective practice with e-learning tools and strategies, and what that effective practice looks like in order to enhance student achievement. And, you know, our teachers use that to mark themselves, to place themselves on the rubric. This is where I'm at now. This is where I want to go to in the next term. Right, I'm here now. This is where I want to go to next term. So it's continual driving forward of teachers' practice and skills and attitudes based on e-learning actually impacting on student achievement and making student achievement the core focus. We're looking at reliable access. You know, we've had the SNUP, we've got the ultra fast in the wall. We can't afford just yet to get the monthly access for the UFB, but we've got it ready for 2013. So we're looking at what kind of infrastructure do we need to make sure we can have, so that when we want to in 2014 become void ready to have any old device walk in that gate, by the time it walks in the gate it's all going to work. No expensive technician fees and those kinds of things. What do we actually need to be doing? A lot of support and guidance for our teachers, and you know what Miriam was saying this morning about giving the teachers a chance to really learn how to do what they need to do before you expect them to do it. I was thinking about that this morning. I think, well, I asked them to do it both at the same time, but they need the support and the guidance in order to actually do what you need them to do, and they need the hardware sometimes, they need the infrastructure other times, time to actually do it. So those are all things that we've been focusing on. Our big thing this year, even though it's not really about learning how to use this tool, but what kind of tools are going to be the most effective for our environment, for our community. We're a Decile 4 school. We don't have many computers in the homes, but we do have about 70-75% of our families saying we access the web. Most of the time it's at work in the lunch hour, but we can get to that, we can look at it, but they don't have many devices at home. And if they do have a device at home, they don't have the web capability to get there. So we have to think about what kind of tool are we going to use at our place. We already call ourselves a fully digital school because we have anywhere from 8 to 15 computers in every single room. We are a small school, so it's the beauty of that. But we want actually a few more tools to do a few different jobs. We don't want them to stop at 3. We want them to have something with them when they go home. So whatever has sparked their interest, they can take that home, they can keep on going. They don't have to wait till 8:30 the next morning. If they've started learning something at night, they can actually play with that and they can bring it back to school the next day so that learning is seamless. So we've looked at everything from laptops to desktops to iPads to mobile devices, netbooks, and we've got a range of those things in our school right now. And one of the things that we're looking at literally right now is actually getting the lease to own paperwork all sorted for iPads next year, because it has been one of the most flexible tools that if parents lease to own on their own, they can take those home every night. They can have them in the weekend. It can be not just a tool for the student that comes to our school, but it is a tool for their whole family, where actually other kids in the family get to learn from it. The parents actually get to learn a fair whack too. And so we're getting those things in. Our kids were in pretty much phase 1 of having mobile devices being used left, right and centre. And our next thing for the mobile devices next year is to get them web access, but we want our kids to use them responsibly first, so that those nightmares with habits, I should say, don't get in the way of the learning. I'll take a step back actually. Everything we do at our school is about using the tool that you're using to impact on student achievement: reading, writing, maths, science, health and PE, whatever it is. And everyone carries out inquiry research in different areas. What I'm going to show you now is just one small part that actually Glenn and another teacher have been carrying out specifically in writing, and we'll have a look at what the data says. Once you have these tools and the infrastructure and the philosophy and behind of really impacting on learning, not just using it as a fun tool, not just as an engager or a motivator. In these classes, 60% of the students within writing have increased their sub-levels by 3 or more sub-levels in 1 year. That's a compelling amount. In the non-trial classrooms where we haven't been putting all of this stuff into place, and it might be that the teacher might have some great practices, but they aren't effective at using e-learning tools with impact yet, or they might be great with e-learning tools, but maybe some of their teaching practices need a bit of work, or, they're only getting 25% of their students on average to make that same kind of gain. So what we're looking at is what's happening in these classes where the actual accelerated learning is happening, is you've got great teaching practices, you've got great use of e-learning tools and strategies, and people have a really clear vision of that these things are there to impact on learning. Teacher skill and practice and attitudes are shifting, and when you can see that shift in the teacher, you can see the shift in the actual hard data. I'll also look at it with the behaviour management, and that it's changing. The way that things happen at our school is actually changing. The nature and type of incidences are changing. The more e-learning tools we have, and the more philosophy we have around using those tools to impact on student achievement, our students are changing the way they engage at school. They're changing the way they behave, and incidences are actually coming right down. And even though classes on the project have varying results, basically the most effective classrooms that had great practice, great e-learning, had the lowest incidences of any behaviour management across the school for the entire year. So, it's the old thing, once you get the learning right, and you get it really right, you actually eliminate the behaviour management stuff. So what have we learnt? Good teacher. Some great web access, because I'm not the only teacher in my place, but I tell you what, you can go onto old Khan Academy or anything else, or YouTube, and I can find whoever I need to learn from, to teach whoever I need to teach. I'm not the one, and neither are my teachers, so you can get on there. You need some good tools that are actually going to fit the purpose, and in our case, they're actually going to be cheap enough and affordable enough for people to actually purchase them, so that the school can't purchase them, because we can't keep on buying all the hardware that we buy. It's unrealistic. And what we've discovered is if you get all that stuff right, you've not just got good achievement, but you've got accelerated achievement. I've put all our challenges and next steps all together. the biggest problem for us is if we know in 214 we want to have, bring your own device, bring anything you like, whatever you've got, we'll try and accommodate, you know. We need a robust wireless so that the moment you walk in our gates, you can access it. You don't need to be mucking around forever, but only the people who need to access it can access it, and others can't jump on for free. So I mean, over Christmas we've got our wireless is all getting upgraded, and we're getting brand new servers, and everything that we need to be in place for next year's going in. Cost, time, all of that, thinking about what you want to put in the cloud, what you need to have down on a local server, those things are really crucial to think through. For Boyd, it's implementing stage 1 and 2 now, and actually having stage 3 come in 2013, and that's thinking about, here's your own device, use it, but don't use it on the web, because we want to teach you how to use it for learning first. Phase 2 is around sort of, here's your device, you now know how to use it, let's try and add some web in there and see what we can teach you about using the web ethically and morally. And then stage 3 is about opening it right up and actually getting into them using it when and as they need it. Lease to own iPads for staff and students. I was really interesting because I was thinking, oh, I've been using an iPad. So we brought a couple of iPads at the beginning, or sometime this year, to actually trial it. Glenn as a teacher and me more as a leader in the school, to see how it could change the way we worked and whether it could make our work more efficient and more effective. And both of us have found that we've probably become a lot sharper at the way we do our jobs. I can go somewhere and do things and not have to worry about waiting till I get back to school. It can all happen right then and there. It fits in my bag and off I go. In a classroom, you whip it out, you do some lessons, modelling book, whip it up to wherever, to their alternate page. You can be in a lesson with kids and you flick it around the table, everyone does their turn, everyone can see on the board. You know, just so fantastic. And the teachers are like, right, can we have one? And I'm like, yeah, you've got to have this or this. The school can't buy everything. And they said, oh, you know what? Get lease to own for us. We'll buy them ourselves. Just do it that way. So, I mean, teachers said, hey, we'll pay for it ourselves. Give it to us. So we're getting that started this term with staff and students for 2013. Further developing our teacher practice through the support and guidance, and really using the rubrics of what we sort of think best practice, effective practices, so that teachers can place themselves on this rubrics and actually say, well, this is where I'm probably aiming for maybe in 12 months and another, you know, but we're only just going to take term by term steps to getting there, because it's really hard. You know, in the rubrics the last 6 months I've been looking at copyright. That's my personal thing about, I know the rules for copyright, I know how it works, I know the theory, but do I put it in practice at home? Do I put it in practice on my phone? Do I put it in practice at work all the time? No, I'm still getting there. And, you know, Glenn comes around and he talks to us probably once every 3 weeks. So how are you going with your goals? Oh, I didn't download a movie in the weekend. You know, so the rubrics is a real practical way to help your teachers and yourselves become better and better and better at using e-learning tools effectively. One thing I thought I'd leave you guys with is that I'm always thinking learning doesn't have to look the way it looks now. Learning can look so much different, and it can be so much more exciting and so much more engaging for all of our learners. And I always think I'm preparing students now for something I don't even know really what it's going to be. And so I have a bit of fun looking at what jobs might look like in the future, and so I thought I might leave you guys with a bit of that today. And, you know, are we preparing our students to be an alternative currency banker? You know, they say by 2035 we're going to have alternative currency bankers. They say we might have clone ranchers, you know. Are some of our kids actually not going to be farmers but clone ranchers? Are they going to be a terabyter? And terabytes are probably only not so far away actually. Life logging and doing those kinds of things, which are things that we wouldn't even think about now. And some of the things we might need to go Google later on. You know, are they going to be a vehicle operator for an unmanned cargo vessel? Or are they going to be a humanist consultant, someone who's actually, I'll leave that one for you guys to have a look, but it combines a lot of fields into one, and it may or may not replace doctors in the future or specialists. and I guess for my staff and for anyone who's watching this sort of thing today is, you know, we can be the change factor and we can make the difference, and we can be like what Mike said this morning, you can be that teacher that kid remembers and they say, you did this for me, and years later they remember you because you put that effort into them and making sure that they made some kind of progress. Right, thanks.